Welcome, Hordlings, to another Game Hoarder Gamebook adventure. We're going to be doing Fighting Fantasies, the Warlock of Firetop Mountain. The Warlock of Firetop Mountain is a fighting fantasy gamebook. You're an interactive adventure in which you're the hero. You can only win by choosing the correct path, finding equipment, avoiding traps, and surviving combat. You'll need to be as wise as an owl and as cunning as a weasel to triumph over the challenges ahead of you. Before embarking on your adventure, you must determine your own strengths and weaknesses with a series of dice rolls. You've been preparing for your quest by training yourself in swordplay to improve your skill and exercising vigorously with your right hand to build up your stamina. Before making your rolls, you must choose from 1 of 3 difficulty settings. Well, we're going to do Adventurer, which is the normal difficulty. Big Diesel Stamina. Your roll of 11 plus a base of 12 means stamina is 23. Your skill reflects your swordsmanship and general fighting expertise. Your starting skill is determined by rolling 1 die and adding 6 to the number. This is entered into the skill box on your adventure sheet. Your adventure sheet can be accessed at any time. Alright, we'll take 3. Gives us 9 and luck. Also a 3. Your starting luck is determined by rolling a d6. And this is how naturally lucky a person you are. Luck and magic are effects of lives in the fantasy kingdom you are about to explore. We next must take a potion. I'm going to take the potion of strength. You begin your adventure with a sword, a shield, leather armor, a backpack containing provisions, food and drink, and a lantern to light your way. Rationing your provisions is key to a successful adventure. They may be consumed at any time. By accessing the adventure sheet, each meal restores 4 stamina. Be sure to pay close attention to your stamina and restore it regularly. Your difficulty setting determines how many provisions you begin with. Alright, well, we're going to start with 10. Hardcore, you only have 3. Jesus. During your quest, you may encounter characters and items that alter your 3 scores: stamina, skill, and luck. Usually these scores may only ever be restored to their initial amount. On very rare occasions, a particular page may grant an effect that defies this rule. Aside from these occasions, some magic items may also allow you to exceed your initial scores. May the luck of the gods go with you on the adventure ahead. Only a foolhardy adventurer would embark upon such a perilous quest without first finding out as much as possible about the mountain and its treasures. Before your arrival at the foot of Firetop Mountain, you spent several days with the humble townsfolk of a village some 2 days' journey from the base. Being a likable sort of person, you found it easy to get on with the locals, although they told many stories about the mysterious Warlock sanctuary. You could not feel sure that all, or indeed any, of these were based on fact. The villagers had seen many adventurers pass through on their way to the mountain, but very few ever returned. The journey ahead was extremely dangerous. That you knew for certain. Of those who returned to the village, none contemplated going back to Firetop Mountain. There seemed to be some truth in the rumor that the Warlock's treasure was stored in a magnificent chesticle with 2 locks, and the keys to these locks were guarded by various creatures within the dungeons. The Warlock himself was a sorcerer of great power. Some described him as old, others as young. Some said his power came from an enchanted deck of cards, others from the silky black gloves that he wore. The entrance to the mount was guarded by a pack of warty-faced goblins, stupid creatures, fond of their food and drink. Towards the inner chambers, the creatures became more fearsome. To reach the inner chambers, you would have to cross a river. The ferry service was regular, but the ferrymen enjoyed good barter, so you should save a gold piece for the trip. The locals also encourage you to keep a good map of your wanderings, for without a map you would end up hopelessly lost within the mountain. When it finally came to your day of leaving, the whole village turned out to wish you a safe journey. Tears came to the eyes of many of the villagers, young and old alike. You couldn't help wondering whether they were tears of sorrow shed by eyes which you would never see you alive again. At last your 2-day hike is over. You unsheath your sword, lay it on the ground, and sigh with relief as you lower yourself down to the mossy rocks to sit for a moment's rest. You stretch, rub your eyes, and finally look up at Firetop Mountain. The very mountain itself looks menacing as fuck. The steep face in front of you looks to have been savaged by the claws of some gargantuan beast. Sharp, rocky crags jut out as unnatural angles. At the top of the mountain you can see an eerie red coloring, probably some savage vegetation, which has given the mountain its name. Perhaps no one will ever know exactly what grows up there, as climbing the peak must surely be impossible. Your quest lies ahead of you. Across the clearing is a dark cave entrance. You pick up your sword, get to your feet, and consider what dangers may lie ahead of you. But with determination, you thrust your sword home into its scabbard and approach the cave. You peer into the gloom to see dark, slimy walls of pools of water on the stone floor in front of you. The air is cold and dank-like. You light your lantern and step warily into the blackness. Cobwebs brush your face, and you hear the scurrying of tiny feet. Rats, most likely. You set off into the cave. Will you turn west or go east like a little bitch? We'll go west. There's a right-hand turn to the north in the passage. Cautiously, you approach a sentry post on the corner, and as you look in, you can see a strange goblin-like creature in leather armor asleep at his post. We'll test our luck. You needed a luck of 9 or lower, and you rolled a luck of 9. He does not wake up, and he remains snoring loudly. He's drank a lot of the game hoarder's craft beer this evening, and he's really fucking drunk. You continue on to your left. On the west face of the passage, there is a rough-cut wooden door. You listen at the door and can hear a rasping sound, which may be some sort of creature snoring. So we can open the door, or we can go northwards. Further up the passage, along the west wall, you see another door. You listen at it, but hear nothing. So we went north at that last one. We're gonna try to open this door. The door opens to reveal a small room with a stone floor and dirty walls. There's a stale smell in the air. In the center of the room is a makeshift wooden table on which is standing a lit candle. Under the table is a small box. In the far corner of the room is a straw mattress. The box is light, but something rattles within. You open the lid and a small snake darts out to bite your wrist. Oh, we got that little snaky snake. We gotta fight it. Oh, you hit the snake in the dick. He's dead. The box has fallen to the ground during your fight with the snake, and out of it has fallen a bronze-colored key with the number 99. It's not as cool as 69, but it's close. You take this key with you and leave the room. You gain a luck point. Further up the passage on the west wall, you see another similar door. You listen at the door and grimace to hear the worst singing you've ever heard in your life. Is it the game hoarder? Do you want to investigate this hideous den? Of course we do. The door opens to reveal a small room. The room is dirty and unkempt. A straw mattress lies in one corner. In the center of the room is a wooden table upon which a candle burns, lighting the room with its flickering flame. The small box rests under the table. Seated around the table are two small creatures with warty skin, dressed in leather armor. They are drinking some sort of grog, and, by the way, they stagger to their feet on your arrival. You assume they are very drunk. We draw our sword and leap forward. Two drunken orcs you now face are obviously startled at your entrance, and as quickly as they're able, they fumble around for their weapons. You must attack each one in turn. Their drunkenness allows you to add 1 point to your skill. You must fight. Fight! You fucked the first orc up. Now you must fight the second. Oh! He hits you. You beat the living shit out of him that time. You are triumphant! You wipe your bloodied sword on the mattress. The green blood leaves a slimy stain on the straw. Stepping over the bodies towards the table, you flinch at the foul stench of creatures. You pick up the box from under the table and examine it. It's a small box with crude hinges. The name Farrago di Maggio is inscribed on the brass nameplate on its lid. In precision to say to reload it. Okay. Yeah. Of course, we get to place bookmarks just like, back in the day. All right, let's open the box. The box contains a small leather-bound book entitled The Making and Casting of Dragonfire. Fortunately, it's written in your own language, and thus was probably unintelligible to the orcs. Otherwise, this treasure would certainly not have been loosely guarded as it was. The book is written in tiny handwriting by Farrago di Maggio. In it, he tells the story of his life's work, the creation of the Dragonfire spell, which was crafted to fight evil dragons. You read how in his last years, Farrago finally perfected his spell, but then was too old to make use of it. So he completed his book, locked it in a chesticle, and hid it in the depths of Firetop Mountain, afraid of what might happen were it to fall into the wrong fucking hands. And so you, who now hold this book, you have my life's work in your hands. The power of destruction is yours if you wish it, but do not waste it unless you use the spell for the purpose for which it was intended. You shall be consumed by evil itself and die by the fire from your own hands. Remember, only when the dragon breathes its fire at you should you raise your arms and say, Eker Eref, Ekam Eref, Eref Di Maggio. The last page reads, and so now who owns this book? You have my love. Okay, yeah, exactly what I just read. You say these words slowly and softly. Suddenly the pages seem to glow. As the glow disappears, the words on the page fade with it. You repeat the spell to yourself and memorize it, and you leave the room. You eventually arrive at the end of a passage at a three-way junction. You can go west or east. We're going to go east. You arrive at another junction. We're going to go northwards. You see a well-used door on the right-hand side of the passageway. With your ear to the keyhole, you listen and hear a man screaming for help inside. We're going to walk past it. Fuck 'em. Further up the passage, you see a door in the east wall. You listen hard, but can hear no sound. Do you wish to investigate? Yes. The door is firmly locked. You may try to force it open. You charge the door, hitting it squarely with your shoulder. You pass the skill check. The door splits along its length, and you can wrench the timbers apart to let yourself in. A torch hangs from one wall, lighting up a small armory room stocked with swords, shields, helmets, daggers, breastplates, and the like. You examine the weaponry and find nothing appearing superior to your own sword. However, a circular iron shield with a golden crescent at its center catches your eye. You pick it up and feel its weight on your arm. The shield will aid you in battle, helping you fend off damage. Your skill increases by 1. You add the crescent seal to your gear, leave the room, and continue up. Let me see my sheet. I got the crescent shield right here. Snarf! Oh my goodness. This game is fucking awesome, guys. Wait, no. I want to place a new bookmark. How many... Can I just keep placing bookmarks? I don't fucking know. Do they replace each other? We also have our badass map here. Boop, boop, boop. Cool shit. They did a great job with these. I'm very impressed. Plenty of options, fonts. You can change your character. Get your retro mode. Oh, the fuck that does. Okay. Oh yeah, retro mode gives us some burnt looking shit. So we got the shield. And we're going to turn to 300. On the east wall of the passage, you see another door, this time made of solid metal. Listening to the door, you hear the sound of torch and screams coming from within. We want to ignore it again. You arrive at the end of a passage where it meets another going east-west. But an iron portcullis blocks your way, and no amount of charging is going to budge it. On the wall to your right are two levers, and it seems likely that these levers have something to do with raising the portcullis. Do you want to raise the right or the left? We'll do the right lever. You hear a deep rumbling noise, and the ground begins to shudder. Slowly and noisily, the portcullis rises into the ceiling. You may now walk into the junction. We will go east. Right? Yeah. Cautiously, you creep along the passageway. After a short time, it turns sharply to the north. At the corner, there's a bench of solid wood. And above the bench, the sign reads, "Rest ye here, wary traveler." Okay, this will restore stamina if we want to stop here, but we're pretty good. We're only missing 2 stamina, so I don't think we need to. We don't wish to. You arrive at another junction, and we are going to go east here. After a few meters, you reach another 3-way junction. We will continue eastward, and the passageway ends into a sturdy wooden door. Let's try to open it. The door opens, and you enter a small room. Your eyes widen as you look around and see the walls of the room are covered in ornate stonework. Mosaics and marble inlays give this room a kind of beauty you've never seen before. In the corner of the room is a large metal statue of a one-eyed creature, and its single eye is a sparkling jewel. As there appear to be no other ways through the room, you'll have to go back to the junction, but the large jewel is very tempting. We're going to take it with us. You approach the statue cautiously. A scampering behind you makes you flash round, but it's only a rat. You feel at the jewel, but it's solidly in place. You try to work your sword in behind it, and as you work, you hear an ominous creaking noise. To your horror, the statue is beginning to move. You jump down and draw your sword. The iron cyclops cranes its head round towards you and steps down from the pedestal. Oh, you both miss. How do we, I don't know what the fuck that means. Kick his ass, Seabass! Alright. We got pretty lucky on that fight, folks. You sit back and rest from the exhausting battle. You prize the jewel from the still statue. It is heavy in your hand and it's worth 50 fucking gold pieces. You put it in your pack. As you explore the room and statue, you notice that one of its breastplate sections is loose. When you open this, you find a small key inside, and you examine it to notice the number 111 on it. With a smile, you put the jewel and the key in your pack. Add 3 luck points from your discovery. You may rest here and eat. Yeah, let's go ahead and use that. We got beat up a little bit. That brings us back up to 21. drop a bookmarky here, just in case the game order gets his balls kicked in. You never know. You arrive back at the junction, and this time you turn northwards. The passage ahead ends at a sturdy door. You listen, but hear nothing. You try the handle. It turns, and you enter the room. As you look around, you hear a loud cry from behind you and swing around to see a wild man leaping towards you, wielding a large battle axe. He is a mad barbarian! We're gonna try to escape. I guess we can't. We have to fight. You must fight. Okay. Come on! Kick his ass, Seabass. The search of the room reveals nothing of value, although an old box in the corner contains a wooden mallet and 5 short stumps of wood, sharpened to one end. You take these and leave to the door to the north wall. The door opens into a short corridor which ends several meters ahead at another door, similar to the one you've just come through. You listen and hear nothing. You try the handle and it turns, allowing you into another room of similar size. But this room is splendidly decorated, with polished marble floor and rough walls painted white. On each of the 4 walls hangs a painting, and there's another door in the north wall. We can go through the north room, or we can stop and look at the paintings. You open the door to the narrow passage and follow northwards. Some meters up the passageway, it turns to the east, and then turns to the north. However, at the second bend, there is a small alcove in the rock. It seems a convenient place, and a large rock forms a comfortable seat. What is it? Heals is 4? Yeah, let's do it. Let's get back to full health, baby. Full health. The passageway ends into another wooden door, this time a small one with a carved bone handle. You listen but hear nothing coming from inside. You try the handle and the door opens into a pear-shaped room with a rough stone floor, making walking across it somewhat awkward. In one corner of the room is a pile of rubble, mainly stones and dust. But there's also 2 odd-shaped pieces of wood and a length of rope. The door in the north wall leads you on. Will you examine the bits of wood, study the length of rope, or leave through the north door? Let's leave through the north door. The passage ahead leads you northwards. The rocky floor becomes sandy until you eventually are walking on some sort of coarse sand. You notice the passage is widening, and ahead you can hear a flowing river. You continue until you find yourself in a large cavern through which a river flows. You are on the south bank of an underground river facing across its black depths. There appear to be 4 ways of crossing. To your left, a rusted bell bears the sign, "Ferry service, 2 gold pieces, please ring." There's a small raft in front of you on the bank with a long stick resting beside it. You could punt across the river. A rickety old bridge crosses on the right. If you don't trust any of these, you may swim. How will you cross? I'm gonna fucking swim. The water is icy cold. You start to swim and notice that your splashing is attracting a moving turbulence in the water. Will your strength and stamina hold out? Fuck, I hope so. You pass! You swim furiously to the north bank. You gain ground on the turbulence in the water, but a few meters from the north bank you notice 2 sinister reptilian eyes on the surface of the water watching you. You're swimming straight for them. If you decide you'd rather not face the owner of the eyes, you may turn around and head back to the bank. Or you can risk confronting the eyes. Towards the turbulence, the water around you bristles with activity, as if an invisible hand is dropping unseen pebbles into the river. You gulp, "Piranhas!" And you begin to feel their sharp teeth biting into your flesh. You kick with your limbs and slash with your weapons to keep them off you until you reach the south bank. Treat the piranhas as a single creature. You can't take me, piranhas. Oh shit. Barely won. You arrive exhausted and lose a stamina point. You slash at the last of the piranhas and manage to scramble out of the water and lie panting on the shore. You're exhausted from your frenzied exit. Your previous attempt to cross the river has failed. You are back on the south bank. Which method of crossing will you choose this time? You climb on the raft and start to punt your way across the river. The going is not easy. In the middle of the river, the raft seems to take a will of its own and bobs up and down dangerously. You realize it is attempting to capsize itself and throw you into the river. Well, that's some shit. Oh. We needed to get lucky. The raft throws you into the water and you start to swim back to the south bank. To your amazement, the raft returns midstream and makes its own way back to the south bank. You quicken your pace, aware that your splashing may at any time attract the attentions of any underwater creature. Well, shit, we're running out of options here. Let's summon the ferryman. I don't have 3 gold pieces. The bell gives a dull clang, and after a few moments you see a withered old man climb into a small rowing boat moored on the north bank. He rows slowly across to you. He asks you for 3 gold pieces. When you protest at the price, he mumbles some flimsy excuse about inflation. He begins to get angry at your protestations. He doesn't take at all kindly to your threats. As you argue and his anger builds, you notice a transformation taking place. He begins to straighten up and grow physically stronger in front of your eyes. His face and arms grow hairy. His teeth become sharp and pointed. He must make a quick decision. He now stands just under 2 meters tall. He advances towards you. His body is hairy. His teeth are pointed. His eyes flash. His fingernails are sharp claws. He's a fucking were-rat. Game Hoarder's gotta beat his ass. Slumps to the ground. You search his body and find 2 gold pieces, his fare from the last crossing. You curse him for trying to overcharge you. You add the 2 gold pieces to your bag and roll yourself across the river. Add 2 luck points. As you moor the boat on the north bank, you look back at the body and it has vanished. You manage to hold on and maneuver the raft across to the north bank. You arrive safely, but as you step on the bank, the raft drifts away and makes its own way across the river to the south bank. You've arrived on the north bank of a fast-flowing river in a large underground cavern. Facing northwards, the rock face is smooth and glistening with moisture. Moss of many different hues grows on the surface. There's an eerie silence punctuated only by the splashing of the river as it flows behind you. You have 3 options. A passage runs off to the northwest. A large timber door is directly in front of you in the middle of the rock face. And another passage runs out along the river. We're going to take the timber door. You find yourself in a short and narrow passageway with a door ahead to the north. The door squeaks open on rusty hinges. The room is dark and your eyes begin to adjust. As you close the door behind you, you hear a shuffling in the room, but before you react, a blow to your head knocks you senseless. Lose 2 stamina. We're getting fucked up. You awake with a throbbing head and look around. The room is 8 meters square, with doors to the north and south. You've been dumped in the southwest corner. Standing motionless in the center of the room are 4 men. At least they appear to be men. Their skin is greeny-gray color, their clothes are tattered and torn, and they are still staring vacantly at the ceiling. One carries a club, one a scythe, one an axe, and one a pick. They are ignoring you completely. Around the room are various peasant-style weapons, pitchforks, axe handles, pointed sticks, 1 or 2 shields, and several barrels. In the northeast corner is a human corpse, with a sword in one hand and a shield in the other. You move your hand up to your head to feel for signs of blood, and you're relieved to find that you are not bleeding. But as your hand moves, the strange creatures in the center of the room turn their eyes down towards you. I don't think they're friendly. It's probably a good place to drop a bookmark in case we get our dick kicked in. We're going to charge them with our sword. The 4 creatures shuffling towards you are mindless zombies. Their vacant eyes suggest that their actions are controlled by a will which is not their own. You're still too dizzy to think properly, but you must act quickly. The first zombie reaches you and prepares to swing its club. Kick these motherfuckers' ass. Now you must fight the zombie with the scythe. Oh shit. Now the one with the axe. Finally, the zombie with the pick. Fucking victorious as ballsack. You defeat all 4 of the mindless creatures. The poor wretches lying dead at your feet almost look happy to be relieved of the burden of life. But as you look down at them, you sense that you're not the only one who knows of their deaths. You feel lucky to have survived against so many foes. You gain 2 luck points. Looking around the room, there are a few things you could investigate. Let's go check the dead body out. You check over the body of the person in the corner. The poor wretch was obviously caught in the same way that you were, but his skull shattered under the club's blow. He wears a suit of leather armor no better than your own, holds a wooden shield on a wrist, and clutches a steel-bladed sword in his other hand. In his pockets are 8 gold pieces, and around his neck is a silver crucifix. You can take any 2 of these items, and you also gain 1 luck and 1 skill. Okay, we're going to take the sword. Trade 1 steel sword. Yep. And we'll take the... okay. I want to take the gold pieces. But I don't see them as an option right here. You may take any 2 of these items. You also gain... it is pockets. Okay. Leather armor, wooden shield, steel blade. This must be a typo. Alright, well, I guess we can't take the gold pieces. What are these mysterious items you have collected? Which do you take? The sword is enchanted and will aid you in battle. It grants you the skill bonus of 2 while equipped. Add 2 to your luck for finding this sword. You throw your old sword away. The crucifix is a solid silver and worth 4 gold pieces. Okay. A noise startles you, prompting you to leave the room quickly. You walk up to investigate the north door. The door, and you find yourself in a dark crypt. The door opens, and you find yourself in a dark crypt of some kind. The room is very large. At one end is an altar, and various coffins are strewn about the room. There is a door behind you in the south wall, and also one in the west wall. Let's go through the west door. You're in a narrow east-west corridor. Looking westward, you can see a crossroads ahead. You go to the crossroads. Standing at the crossroads, you may go either let's go north. You're following a passageway which leads to the north. After several meters, it bends sharply to the east. You continue eastward until eventually you come across a narrow opening through the north wall. You climb through the opening and find yourself at the top of a narrow staircase leading downwards. Cautiously, you descend the stairs. The narrow staircase is cut into the rock, and there are about 20 steps leading down. At the bottom of the steps, a passageway leads into a large open chamber. This chamber stinks of putrefying flesh. The smell is so bad that you are tempted to turn back. 3 bodies lie in the chamber. You may either search the bodies or tiptoe quietly through the room. Ooh. Let's search the first body. You find 5 gold pieces in the pockets of the corpse and gain a luck. Alright, let's leave the rest alone. You tiptoe through the room and up a narrow staircase that ends in a passage. That was easy, you think, and you begin to have second thoughts about whether it would have been worthwhile to search the other bodies. Let's press on. At the top of the stairs, the passage turns sharply to the east. As you pause to get your bearings, you hear a creaking in the rock behind you. You spin round in time to see heavy portcullis drop to seal the passageway behind you. There's only one way now, and that is forward. And we will press on. You're in the east-west corridor. If you go east, you will turn a corner northwards. Let's go east. You're at the south end of a north-south corridor. Looking northwards, you can see a passage coming off the east wall. We'll go up this passage. You're standing at a T-junction, where a passage to the east comes off the north-south corridor. Go east. You're standing in the middle of an east-west corridor. To the east is a dead end. To the west, a familiar junction and another passageway. Quite a short one, leads off to the north and ends in a large wooden door. Let's try this door out. The door opens and you find yourself in a small smoke-filled room. Sitting in the room around a wooden table are 4 tiny men, each about a meter tall, but all are apparently fully mature with weathered skin and long bushy beards. They're cursing, laughing, and joking as they play a card game. Each one is leaning back on his tiny chair, puffing a long clay pipe. On the table are a number of copper coins and 4 mugs of ale. As you walk in, their merriment stops. They are on their guard, but don't appear too dangerous. One stands up and makes some comment about your lack of manners, not knocking before you came in. The other nods in their agreement. What do you want to try to do? Let's chat and befriend them. You chat about various things, and they seem eager to be friendly. They feel lonely in the dungeon with so much evil about, and are happy to speak to visitors of a lawful disposition. They tell you that you are in the maze of Zagor. The only way out is to go deeper into the dungeon. They tell you that the way through the maze is to leave the room, turn right, left, keep going straight, and then they begin to get a bit vague. They're not entirely sure it's correct. Eventually you thank them and leave the room. You're standing in the middle of a east-west corridor. To the east is a dead end, to the west is a familiar junction, and another passageway, quite a short one, leads off. You're standing at a T-junction. Alright, we'll go west. Let's go north. Let's go west. North and through the door. You've entered a large square room. Broken pottery lies scattered all about. One large clay vase is untouched and is full of clear liquid. A large bowl is full of gold pieces. As you enter the room, the door slams behind you and you swing around to face a strange-looking creature, half man, half bull, who's glaring at you. He is a minotaur, and he stalks towards you. He lowers his head, horns pointed at your chesticle, and charges. Probably a good place for a bookmark. Alright, gonna fight. Your weapon is to do 2 more damage. Alright. Fuck him up, Game Hoarder! Alright, I beat him. You sort through the broken pots and find little of interest. The liquid looks and smells and tastes like water. The coins in the pot are a fraud. 8 genuine gold pieces lie on the surface of the pile which you take. Underneath are merely painted pieces of pot. As you tip the vase out, it slips and breaks. A red-colored key appears, hidden inside a false bottom in the bowl. You take this key. It is inscribed with the numbers 111. You add 2 luck points for defeating the Minotaur, and you leave the room and continue on your questicle. Alright, use some provisions, heal up a little bit. Drop a bookie book. Alright, let's go south. You're standing at the crossroads to the west. The passageway goes on for a few meters and turns northwards. To the north, the passageway ends at a door. To the east, the passageway continues and eventually turns southwards. Looking south, the passage goes on as far as you can see. Go south again. You follow along a narrow passageway which goes south, then east, and then south again, until you eventually find yourself at the crossroads, at which we go south again. You set off south along a cobbled passageway. It swings west, then south, then west again, until you find yourself at a 3-way junction in which we go north. You set off and find yourself in the middle of a north-south passageway. There's a door in the western wall of the passage. Opposite the door is a passage going off eastward. To the north, you can see a door some meters ahead. To the south, you see a junction. We're going to go east. The passageway runs east for several meters and then runs north. You walk a long way northwards. Let's go northwards. You're at crossroads, and we turn west. You travel westwards for several paces. Then the passage turns north. Some way up, you reach a junction. To the north, the passage ends shortly at a dead end. We go west. Westwards again. North. You walk up a long corridor, around a sharp hairpin bend at the top, and finally along an east-west corridor, eastwards to the crossroads. We go north again. The passageway ahead runs northwards for some time. You continue along. The passageway bends to the west and begins to get quite narrow. You reach a small rocky arch which you have to stoop to get through. On the other side of the arch, you pause and look around. You're in a large cavern which disappears into distant blackness. The cavern is partially lit by a natural light which streams in through a hole in the roof. You cannot see a way through. As you shine your lantern around the cavern, you hear a rumble. A dull glow flickers in the blackness. Suddenly, a jet of fire shoots from the depths of the cavern, narrowly missing you and singeing the mossy growths on the wall. You throw yourself on the ground and look up to see a large fucking dragon stalking out of the darkness towards you. Smoke curls from its nostrils. Its scaly red skin glistens with an oily covering. The beast is some 15 meters long. We should probably search our memory for some other means of attack. Does the name Ferragio DiMaggio mean anything to you? If it does, you remember DiMaggio's small leather-bound book and silently mouth the spell contained within. You shout loudly at the dragon and it stops in its tracks. It cocks its head to one side and it eyes you suspiciously. You fling a stone at its head and the rock bounces off its nose. The beast lets out an angry cry and breathes deeply, a roaring sound emerging from within its throat. The dragon exhales, and from between its teeth you can see another fireball building up. You prepare yourself, and as the ball of flames come from its mouth, you cry, Ekilirif! Ekamirif! Erif Dibasio! The fireball continues no further. With an agonized scream, the dragon tries to shake the flames from its snout. But there, the burning continues. Squealing in agony, the dragon turns its back and leaps into the blackness, flailing its head from side to side. You have defeated the dragon. Add 3 luck points. Safe for the moment, you investigate the cavern and find a passageway which continues west. You leave the cavern and follow a long, narrow corridor. After several hundred meters, it ends at a large wooden door, which is slightly ajar. Carefully, you ease it open a little further and poke your head around the side to see what is in the room. You see an old man sitting at the table on his own, playing with a pack of cards. He looks quite a harmless old soul, gray-haired and bearded. He is seated. What will you do? Will you burst through the door with your cock drawn to surprise the old man? Surely he'll be surprised from that. Or will you knock on the door and enter, greeting the old man courteously? Or will you get down on all fours and try to creep into the room and possibly give him a blowjob underneath the table? Let's greet him courteously. Why not? The old man looks at you and accepts your greeting and bids you to sit down. You sit at the table and notice that he's glaring at you, his piercing stares becoming hypnotic, but you realize this and break eye contact. He opens his mouth to speak, and to your amazement, instead of an old man's voice, the whole room resonates with the powerful voice which seems to be coming from the walls themselves. You throw a glance back at the man and can see him changing before your very eyes. He is of imposing height. His tattered black eyes are fixed directly on yours. He's been expecting you. The battle will call upon all your reserves of strength and cunning. Your adversary has disappeared and now stands at the far end of the room in front of the door with 2 locks. How will you approach him? Look through your pack for a weapon to use. Look around the room for another means of attack or defense. Yes. We're going to use the Eye of the Cyclops. You hold up the eye in front of him and the jewel gives off a dull glow. You point it towards him and he shrieks. He backs away into a corner and a beam of light shoots from the jewel. As it falls on him, he sinks to the floor and a remarkable transformation takes place. He starts to shrivel and grow visibly older in front of you. His skin wrinkles and cracks, and he slowly becomes an amorphous heap in the corner. After some moments, the jewel stops glowing and you approach the lifeless bundle of cloth. His robes are all that remain. With the Warlock now defeated, you know your quest is almost over. You approach the door to his chambers, open it, and peer around. The door opens to reveal a small, dimly lit room. The walls are hung with ornate curtains, laced in silver and gold. A single flame burns in one corner, throwing light on a low table in the middle of the floor. On this table is a large chesticle. You step up to investigate the chesticle, and from all around, yet from nowhere, a mysterious sound fills the room. It sounds like the rumbling of thunderclouds preparing to make storm. You approach the chest and can see that it is held shut by 3 locks. As you approach, the noise gets louder. Will you hack the fuck out of it with your sword, or will you search through your bags to see if you can find keys that fit? During your adventure, you will have come across various keys and should have collected some of these. 3 of them must be the correct combination to open the chest. Peering at the chest more closely, you notice that the numbers 321 is described faintly across the top. Have you come across any keys? If so, you may try 3 of them. Alright, well, we got the key. You make your selection and slide the key into each lock. The final key clicks into place. One by one, all keys click and turn in the locks. You have placed them all correctly. As the last key turns, the lid of the chesticle comes free and you open it. Your quest is over. The Warlock of Firetop Mountain is no more, and you are now the owner of the sorcerer's riches. At least 1,000 gold pieces, jewelry, diamonds, rubies, and pearls are in this chest. Hidden under these, you find the Warlock's spellbook, and as you leaf through the pages, you realize that this tome is probably more valuable than all the treasure. Instructions are given for the control of all the secrets and the creatures of Firetop Mountain. With this book, unlimited power is yours, and the safety of your return to the village is ensured. Or, if you'd prefer, you could remain as the master of the domain of Firetop Mountain. It's up to you. The end. Alright, folks. We knocked out another fighting fantasy book. It's been a while since we've done one. I figured you guys were itching for another one. Stay tuned. I might do Citadel of Chaos sooner than later. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments what you think about Game Hoarder doing the game books. I love reading them. So, always a fun time. We got pretty lucky on that one with the rolls. There was definitely some close calls there on the dice rolls. I don't know how the game is skewed. I know at adventure level it's not supposed to be biased toward the player or the book, so I think we just got really lucky there. I'm wondering if it would be fun to do, when I'm doing playthroughs of these, to actually do like fails when it doesn't work out. And then we might have to start over, or if I should just upload when I have an epic win, such as this one. But we have some more books to unlock: Armies of Death, Port of Peril. But we have all these other books that I've already bought. I guess I don't have. Oh yeah, that one's already installed. So yeah. Which one should we do next? Should we go to Game Book 2? They kind of all skip around, obviously. Then we have Forest of Doom, which is 3. I think the next closest one is Death Trap Dungeon. Or no, City of Thieves, Death Trap Dungeon, the Island of the Lizard King. So we could just go in chronological order of what I have. Anyways, again, leave some comments. Let me know what you guys feel about these. I know a lot of you enjoy them. And some of you might not give a shit, but that's okay too. Thanks for watching. We'll be back soon with some more content.